Padilla of California. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Good to see you again, Nicole.
It is a bipartisan issue to pass ethics reform for the Supreme Court. It's actually also become a 65% issue to enact bigger reforms like term limits. What kind of wind at the back do you feel on issues about reforming the Supreme Court as Democrats on the committee?
Yeah, look, I think that's part of the significance of what we learned today about Justice Alito, because as egregious as this story is, it's not this in isolation. It's on top of Chief Justice Roberts' refusal to even talk to the Judiciary Committee to enforce a code of ethics at the Supreme Court. It's on top of what we've been hearing for some time now about Justice Thomas and his lack of reporting, lack of recusal, lack of everything else. So, when I read the ProPublica piece this morning, I couldn't help but think of that old adage, right? There's no such thing as a free lunch. If there's no such thing as a free lunch, there certainly is no such thing as a free charter flight to remote parts of Alaska, free lodging at a resort, and free king salmon fishing. To quote Chairman Durbin, give me a break.
I thought of the old adage, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. I mean, the idea that Roberts' legacy at this point is about overseeing the largest, fastest, most massive deterioration of public trust in the institution of the Supreme Court in our country's history is undeniable, regardless of what political party you're in. Since Quinnipiac has asked the question about approval for the Supreme Court, it has never been as negative as it is now. 30% approve, 59% disapprove. That is a bipartisan group of Americans who disapprove of the United States Supreme Court. What is the resistance, in your understanding, of Chief Justice John Roberts to being part of the solution?
Yeah, well, that's precisely the stakes and precisely the danger. This is not a disagreement about policy or the legality of this federal statute versus that one. We're talking about the legitimacy of the court and public confidence in the judiciary. And if they refuse to police themselves, then it's past time that Congress takes action. And that's what I look forward to doing when we return in July. As Chairman Durbin said, we're going to take up legislation if the Supreme Court justices won't enact or adopt an enforceable code of ethics for themselves, then Congress will do it. We know we have the power and the authority to do so, just as we've required financial disclosures of circuit court, district court judges. We have the authority to enforce this upon the Supreme Court. Will Senate Republicans or Republicans in both chambers stand in the way? We will see, but the public deserves to know where their representatives stand on this important question.
Will you subpoena or seek to interview Paul Singer to find out if he talked to Justice Alito about any of the cases before the court?
Oh, I think that's more than in order for people who have wondered what accountability can Congress impose on whether it's Justice Alito or Justice Thomas or any of the other players in this scheme. It begins with an investigation, and I think we should exercise every lever of power we have to bring them forward, to ask our questions, demand answers to our questions, and bring about accountability, again, if the Supreme Court is not willing to do it themselves.
Senator Alex Padilla, thank you very much for spending some time with us on a busy day up there. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Nicole.